casting. I'm one of the broads. I'm Beth. I'm married for many years in a row with lots of teenagers.
Dozens.
Broad. And I'm sitting here today with Laura.
Hi.
Who I sit with every show, actually.
It's so surprising. I should be here.
Who am I sitting with today? Laura.
Hi. I'm the other broad. I'm divorced and I have 2 kids off to college.
Empty nester.
I'm an empty nester, which means I'm a bird.
And which also means you should have lots of free time.
I do. I do have lots of free time. And speaking of free time,
yes,
one of the things we wanted to talk about today, or perhaps the only thing we wanted to talk today about, was how do women, because we know so many women, and you were talking to me.
I was just telling you, here's another friend of mine who's been married almost 22 years. Their kids are in high school, and her husband have decided, okay, maybe we didn't really get along that well, and let's try to find other people. And she's suddenly being thrown back into the dating pool. She's attractive, but she's over 40. She hasn't dated for probably close to 25 years. And how does a cougar, and maybe not necessarily a cougar, you don't like that term.
Well, a cougar I think, let me know if I'm wrong, but I think a cougar means women who want to go after younger men. So,
and you go for it, girl, because you should go after a younger man.
If you want.
Yeah, so these are going to be tips and hints for anybody, but cougars who might be interested in younger men or getting back into the swing of dating after being in either a long-term relationship or marriage. And this can go for guy or girl.
Well, yes, I'm gearing it towards you women, but men, listen up, because as you'll see when we go through it, it will probably apply to anyone who's rusty, if your skills are rusty. So when we're talking about getting back into the dating scene, that's a whole bunch of skill sets that have fallen by the wayside for many of us. Beth is still married because she and her husband practice the art of dating, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Actually, the last time I had an official date, I know we've had this conversation, I still can't figure out who was president, but I think, honestly, it was maybe Jimmy Carter. I mean, it was a long time ago.
It's a long time, and for a lot of people who are divorced, that's the case.
And that was a time before there was any online or texting, which we've talked about, the new dating etiquette. But give us some advice.
So this is different. We've done shows on dating etiquette and we'll do them again. This is going to be just about how to gear yourself up for dating. Sort of like if you were going to enter a marathon. You wouldn't just sign up and go to the race.
Right.
I wouldn't do it at all. But if you were going to, you'd start warming up and getting ready, especially if you hadn't run for a while or ran. So
this is not like a bike. It doesn't come right back to you like riding a bike, or does it?
It will eventually, but you gotta put in the miles. Oh, that doesn't sound right, but you gotta get on the bike and start practicing.
Okay, so what should we do?
So first,
us cougars and others.
Before you even think about dating, there's some things you need to do so you don't have unpleasant experiences. And the very first thing is practice the art of flirting. Now you may say, well, who are you flirting with if you're not dating? Would you say that, Beth?
I would say that. No, or I would say, where do you flirt and how do you flirt? And
flirting is, good question. So here's what you do. Flirting is just the name we use to describe behavior that is attractive and is done to attract.
So making a connection with somebody.
Exactly. So here's what you do, women and also men. Start to put yourself in a frame of mind that you want to start to look around you. So that means if you're in an elevator and there's a good-looking man, look at him. Actually look at him and smile. And then, then look away. If you stare at someone too long, you'll freak them out.
So eye contact is the first step in flirting. It could be at Starbucks, it could be at the gas station, it could be anywhere.
At the grocery store.
At the grocery store. Or at a bar, perhaps. Do people flirt at bars? I don't know. Haven't been to one.
Well, we're not getting there yet.
Okay.
Please.
But eye contact.
Eye contact and smiling. So if you see someone, let's say you're rolling down your cart, even if it's a woman, if you're a woman and it's a woman, just to practice getting out of yourself. So if you see a woman, you smile. Hi, you're shopping, I'm shopping. Just that sort of knowing smile. The other thing you want to start doing is practice making small talk, and it can be with anyone. A shopping clerk, the guys at Best Buy, our friends at Apple.
Hi Apple, shout out.
practice engaging, looking for reasons to talk to someone. If you're at the grocery store and you see a man looking over fruit, and men always look like deer in the headlights.
So, should we ask the man a question? Should we? So if he's looking over the fruit, you know.
So you be the guy.
melons.
You be the guy looking for fruit.
Okay.
And by the way, we're just practicing here. This isn't about how to get a date. So it wouldn't matter if he's married, if he's 100 years old, if he's, not your type. Doesn't matter.
Just practicing, getting out of your comfort zone and being able to make small talk.
Okay.
So our first step is flirting, the eye contact. We're going to do, our next segment's going to be all about flirting, so you're going to want to listen to that.
So you practice, you're looking at
And our second step is making small talk.
Right.
So I'm a man and I'm looking at some melons.
So I come over and I'm also looking at the melons, and
as a man, I glance at your melons.
And I pretend not to notice. I kissed a girl and I liked it. Okay. And I will say, you look confused.
Oh, you know what? Thanks. I just don't know how to tell when it's right.
You know what? Here, let me show you. I didn't know either. You shake it. So
really?
Yeah, just shake it.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. You got it.
But I'm shaking it.
Oh, what do you? Well, all right.
What am I listening for when I'm shaking it?
Well, let's stop for a second, because actually that's another show about melons. Okay. All we're making a point is
small talk.
Small talk, and this isn't to get a date. We'll talk about that in another show.
Okay. So,
and the other thing is, when you're flirting, and then we're done with this, practice listening. There is nothing more sexy than a person who actually listens to you. And the way someone knows that you're listening is they actually are looking at you, and they're nodding, and they make a comment back regarding something you said. People find that sexy.
So I'm listening to you.
You are.
I think that was kind of like a way to tell you to listen. Okay.
So here's the other thing that is mandatory before you can enter the dating marathon.
Lose 10 pounds?
Got to get over your anger, your resentment, your hatred, your dislike of either your ex-husband or all of the men you've been dating. You cannot come into the dating arena with anger, because it will come out, and no one wants to be with an angry person. It would be like if you went to a party and someone was there and you said, "Hi, how's the party going?" And they said, "This is a crappy party. I hate this party. Let me tell you about all the people here I hate." They would walk away from you.
You know what? And I used to do this. This is such a great hint and tip. Pretend you're somebody that you admire or that has a lot of self-confidence, and kind of get your brain into being into that body. And even if you have to fake it till you make it, fake it till you're happy, pretend to be somebody else.
You listen to me. Now I feel closer to you, because we have talked about that, and that's absolutely true. Do not take your bitterness with you on a date. You know how they say if you put on a lot of jewelry, always like put on a lot and then take off two? Take off the bitter. Leave it at home, and until you vent to your girlfriends, vent in a diary. When you're ready to finally go out on that date, everything's great.
And you know what they talk about is if you smile, honestly, if you smile, you feel better. You really feel better. So if you're fake smiling,
it does pay off.
I'm not faking it. I'm happy.
No, I know. The other thing is, listen to the person when you're on a date, and get used to listening to people around you. You will hear people, especially at our age, more and more people obviously are getting divorced, and they complain about their ex. So I was on a date not too long ago with a man who talked about his ex the entire date. She's a bitch, she's the bitch, da 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 da. How horrible. I can say the B word. She's the B word. I'll just say that. And I know that soon, if I were to date him, I would be the B number 2. You tell people a lot about your angerness and about your bitter. Don't be that person.
And the listening, really listen, because you know your story already. You know what you've been through. You know your story. If you're just getting to know somebody, don't you want to hear their story?
Absolutely.
So if you sit and you listen and you nod and a couple even if you're falling asleep, but what a good way to find out if he's totally into like gaming and Xbox and that type of stuff, you can find out.
Yes. In fact, we're going to do a show about red flags, and a lot of what you said absolutely will come into play when we talk about watching for red flags.